welcome to my channel. I'm Dilly, and today I'm going to talk about my likes and dislikes of the letter B, or things that start with the letter B. First of all, let's start off with a dislike. One of my biggest dislikes, for anyone that knows me, knows I hate people full of BS. I dislike liars, especially when they lie to me. If somebody lies to me and I find out about it, which I usually do, I don't ever trust that person again. They do it because they think they can get one over on people. They make other people look stupid. They think they make other people look stupid, but in fact what they're doing is making themselves look stupid, because invariably they get found out. Truth will out in the end, and it just proves them to be untrustworthy if they lie, especially when they lie about the most ridiculous things. You think if you can lie about something stupid like that, what else are you going to lie about? So I really dislike people who tell lies, even white lies. I mean, people know me, they'll say, "Did you cook this yourself, Dilly? Is it all your own?" And I'll say, "Yeah." They look at me and I say, "Nah, not really," because within a second of actually telling a fib, I can't keep it up. I was once told at my place of work that I was too honest, and that I had to learn to lie sometimes. Couldn't do it, and it's so hard to do. And even if my mouth didn't say anything, because I didn't want anything to come out that was an untruth, my face gave it away. So if somebody came up to me and said something that I thought was outrageous, and I couldn't I couldn't say, "You liar, you're full of BS," my face would go and I couldn't help but show it. But that's just me. I live in cloud cuckoo land, where I'd like to think that everybody was honest with each other. Unfortunately, that's not true. So my first dislike is BS. Big dislike. My first real like of the letter B are bees and birds, for such obvious reasons. Without them, I think the world would be less pretty, more dull, less pollination, less song, obviously. I have a blackbird that's around my area, and I call him Marmite, not only because he's black with yellow, but I love him, and some people really dislike him because he is usually one of the first in the dawn chorus at 4:30, and he's got a particular part of his ensemble of music that I recognise. And in fact, I presume it was either a local bird or his father, perhaps before him, sung a very similar piece of tune, and I sometimes whistle it back to him, and you can see him don't understand. But it's lovely. I don't mind being woken up at 4:30 by him. Well, if I'm awake, obviously, and I hear him, I don't mind that he's singing at 4:30 in the morning. And I often go out in the evening, late in the evening, and he's still singing, and I say to him, "You need to go to bed, Marmite. You've got to be up at 4:30. Come on, off you go." And he looks at me, you mad woman, you mad old woman, what are you talking to me for like that? I know what I'm doing, and he does. He's lovely. He's my mate Marmite. For those of you who are old enough to remember that advert, and those of you who aren't, well, I expect you can Google it. So yeah, birds, bees. Certainly have more time for them than I do for human beings. Another thing that I dislike is bugs. When I say bugs, I'm talking about things like mozzies, mosquitoes, and the kind of pests that damage my plants and that damage my vegetables. Oh, I wage war on those. I try to use natural methods, I try to use barrier methods, and I try to use like ladybirds and things like that that will help predate on them in a natural way. Anyway, an ongoing war between gardeners and pests and bugs. Forevermore, I should think. And of course, if we didn't have the pests and the bugs, then we wouldn't have things for the birds to eat so much, so hey ho. Which leads me on to another thing that I like, beginning with B. Bats. I know a lot of people who can't stand bats. My husband being one of them, and my sister being another. And when I took my sister to America, and we went to an animal park there, and there were big brick pillars with kind of window areas in between. And one of the things that we said to each other at the beginning of the holiday was we were going to face our fears, whether it was going on a roller coaster or whatever. Anyway, so my sister decided she was going to take pictures of these mahusive bats. Well, they were actually fruit bats, so I don't know if you know how big they are, but they are big. And they're all hanging around as they do. And she went through the middle of these two pillars to take a picture of these huge great bats, thinking that she was protected by the glass window. And as she went forward with the camera and more forward with the camera, she realised there wasn't any actual glass there, and it was just a short distance between her and the bat, and she nearly pooped herself with fear. But she did it. She met her fear and took a picture of the fruit bat. But I love them. I think they're incredible animals, and the fact that they eat lots of bugs and pests and mosquitoes and all those things that I don't like, they're all even more of a plus point as far as I can see. My husband calls them flying mice, and he doesn't like mice either. Give him a rat over a mouse any day. But it's just personal preference, isn't it? Anyway, I happen to like bats. Another B, I wouldn't say I actually hate it, but it does annoy me when I'm filling out forms and they say on the form, are you Scottish? Are you Welsh? Are you Irish? Or are you British? Well, no, you're either British or you're Scottish, Welsh, Irish and English. Yes, I live in Britain, but I'm English. Just like a Scots person is Scottish, and a Welsh person is Welsh, and an Irish person is Irish. Why do I have to be British when I'm English? I don't get it. They fought for their say and their chance to be able to say, I'm Scottish, I'm Welsh. Well, I'm English. Yes, I'm British. But if it's a matter on a form that says, are you Scottish or British, I cross it out. I put English. Because I'm a stroppy old bag. That's just one of my little annoyances, if you like. Okay, another thing that I like, blossom. Blossom on trees. Cherry blossom, apple blossom, even like when you see the magnolias and they're in bloom and they're huge, great flowers. They might not last for very long, and the first winds blow away the cherry blossom. Oh, it's so beautiful. It reminds me of just peace and tranquility, and almost of a different time when everything was more sedate and calm and peaceful. I know that's not in my memory necessarily, it's just something that I'd like to think of history, and I know that there were plenty of times when it hasn't been sedate and peaceful. Over 2 world wars, for goodness sake. But I just like to think of cherry blossom lined avenues, or apple blossom in the orchards, or May, the month of May, when you have, as I say, magnolias and azaleas and all those rich, beautiful colours. I love it. I guess May is one of my favourite months of the year. And I don't think it's just because my birthday's in May. I think it's because of all the blossom. Another dislike I have is beer. Sorry to all you brewers out there. It's always tasted to me, and I do try it from time to time just to see if my tastes have changed. It's always tasted to me like dishwater. And I remember many years ago when I was very young, and I was going out with a guy and said, do you want a beer or half a shandy or whatever? Oh, no thanks. He said, well, have you tried it lately? I'm like, no thanks, I don't want to try it again. No thanks. It tastes like dishwater to me. Oh, you get used to it. I said, what do you mean you get used to it? Well, it's kind of an acquired taste. And I said, why do you have to acquire the taste? If you don't like it, why do you have to drink it? Why do you need an acquired taste? But later on I realised I was with a rugby player at the time, and I guess drinking lemonade all the time, or whatever the alternative was, I suppose lager, I don't know, mind you, to me that's just as bad, would have looked a bit sissy. But I just could never understand this acquired taste thing. If you don't like something, don't have it. It's a bit like me trying to acquire a taste for something like anchovies. I said in my last, when I did the A's and I didn't like anchovies. What's the point? If you don't like it, don't have it. Anyway, as I say, apologies to all the brewers. I don't like beer. Sols. One of my real likes, my favourite colour, is blue. And I like a lot of things associated with blue as well. Like blue cheese. Now that is an acquired taste. A lot of people don't like blue cheese in any way. It can be quite strong. I love blue cheese. And I love when blue cheese flavours other things as well. I love blueberries that are extremely good for you, I might add. I love a clear blue sky when it's cloudless and it's just really deep sky blue, not surprisingly. I love that colour. When you have the sea, instead of looking all green or greyish, or when it's choppy, you often get it when it's clear, when it's calm, and it's a lovely deep blue colour. And I like bluebells, as in the flower. When you go into a forest and there's a whole carpet of bluebells, it's such a wonderful sight. It brings joy to my heart when I see a carpet of bluebells, which I might add, you shouldn't pick, because although they are less rare than they were, they did become very rare. Admire, don't pick, because once that's picked, that's it for the season, and they can't set seed and they can't spread. So just admire from afar, please. Also, although they're not blue colour, they're called blackberries, they do have a blue colour about their juice, and I do love those as well. Another bee, not so much that I don't like, but I don't understand, is when people say, I'm bored. Bored? How? How are you bored? There's hundreds of things that you could do. Hundreds of things that you might like to try. I don't understand how people can be bored. What do they normally do that they can no longer do that is making them bored when they can't find something else to do to replace that thing that they normally do? I just don't get it. There are so many things, and sometimes I must admit too many things that I've got going on in my life. I've got so many plates spinning and so many things lined up to do. I don't have time to be bored. And even if I did have the time to be bored, I would still find myself something to do so that I wasn't bored. I think it's a crime in a way to be bored, because if you really feel, oh, I've got nothing to do, there's nowhere I can go, there's nobody I can see, I can't go out, well, read then. If you haven't got any books to read, go on the internet and learn some things. I mean, the internet is a wonderful thing, used in the right way. Go on YouTube, learn about all the different things that you could do on YouTube. Learn how to make a pair of oven gloves out of an old sofa. Learn how to do some gardening. How to transform your bedroom in a weekend. I mean, how can you be bored? Come on now, people. You can't be bored. Find things to do. Learn things. My grandfather used to say, a day when you don't learn something is a day wasted. I think that's pretty good, because why not just fill your life with learning, and just, it's an amazing world out there. There's loads to learn. So, never be bored. That's my motto, and I'm sticking to it. My last positive about a bee, I'm not talking about bee, I'm talking about bee as in bee, is people who are broad-minded. I think people who are broad-minded and can see arguments from both sides, or see the world perhaps in a different way from the sheep, or how perhaps the media is portraying it. So a lot of people tend to watch the television, see how the media has portrayed it, and that is what it is in their view. That. They don't think, Do you think this might have been twisted to make it look worse than it really is, so that we actually watch the news? Broad-minded people tend to realise that there are other answers to things you see and things you hear, things you read, and that you have to assimilate all the information and then make your own mind up. Broad-minded people look upon the world with more positivity from my point of view, because narrow-minded people can't look with positivity, because all they see is tiny little blinkered world. If you're only looking at the world like this, then you're not going to see all the rest of it. I believe that broad-minded people are the sort of people that I like to associate it with. Personally, narrow-minded people have their place, but perhaps not in my world. I'd like to say thank you for joining me, and if you'd like to see more of my chats on Tuesday and makes on Friday, if you subscribe on the button below, and it will notify you when I release another video. And until such time that we see each other again, take care.